This is me cleaning before coronavirus. This is me after coronavirus. Hello, welcome back to my DIY channel. If you're new here, my name is Wendy, and this is a series called Wendy Tries, where I attempt new crafts and techniques, hopefully inspiring you to try something new as well. Recently, I cut a mirror to have rounded corners. I tried tie-dyeing for the first time and actually went really great. And today we are going to be attempting viral Instagram DIYs. To be clear, I'm using the word viral very generously here, but it's really just things the Instagram algorithm fed to me that made me go, whoa. All of these DIYs have some interesting techniques that I'm going to try to figure out. And this video is also sponsored by Koho. They are a no-fee app and a prepaid card, all designed to help Canadians save money, budget better. And so in the spirit of saving money, all of my DIYs today are also super affordable. First up, out of this whole feed of logos and pastels, this cute little purse is our first target. Let's see if we can make this. Sponges. I've got 3 packs in total. These sponges have a nylon mesh exterior, which I think will really accomplish the overall look for us. I'm gonna start with joining the sponges just like the picture. This is the layout. My thinking is to just like pinch these so that the nylon is exposed and then sew it together. Hopefully it'll lay flat. Let's give that a try. Yeah, that's the plan. I've created the weird sponge wall. This is identical to the pattern in the photo. I'm assembling another one and just like mixing it up a little to do it my own way. I'm going to add a stitch going up here, going across here, coming down here. And every sponge gets sliced in half via 1 stitch. It's going through surprisingly easily. I feel like it could look more square. Maybe I'll do another stitch. I'm kind of into this, but I'll cut it free in the name of replicating well. Oh yeah, that's a little more square. Now to repeat. Ba-doop, ba-doop. That's it. After fixing the top stitch, I then realized it would be nice if the bottom row of sponges shifted just slightly over so they lined up with the top stitch. As you can see, I'm so excited by my realization. This is extra challenging because the mesh made it nearly impossible to seam rip. My stitches are totally blended in. So instead, I did my reconstructive surgery by cutting the sponges apart and then trying really hard to not lose any mesh as I re-sewed it in place. Amazingly, this worked, so do what you will with that information. Just a tip, I used exactly all 15 sponges, so cutting this excess piece from the bag front and using that on the bag back so that all of the gaps could be filled in. We have a front, we have a back. Julia has helped me draw the shape using this as a grid to follow the picture. If you cut now, it will just become a crazy mesh explosion. I'm gonna sew just outside this line first, then cut off the excess. I'm gonna do the same thing to the back. For the bag bottom, it tapers a little bit at the sides and then is a bit wider along the base. And where's she at? I have a strap as well. See you in a moment. It's time to assemble. The front gets sewn to this. It won't be easy, but we'll try. A tip I have is to start in the bottom center and go up the 2 sides to increase your odds of symmetry. Also, I'm going to be sewing these wrong sides together so that we have this leftover in the end to wrap around for some nice trim. It's coming together though. It's not a bag tutorial unless there's some like real wrestling involved, you know? I've got this beautiful satin bias tape. It's left over from the Cicely Banson inspired wrap coat that I made last winter. Today, hopefully, it will be put to good use. This was cut on the bias, so the whole intent is that it can flex without puckering up too much. It's sewn open on the wrong side. Flip it around and tuck in this raw edge, and then do a clean stitch, like a little top stitch right here. Ta-da! I'm gonna keep going with this method. I went with doing the bias tape for the bag opening, so that's the entire mouth of the bag plus the 2 short ends of the handles. This is where I started to run into some broken needle adversity. R.I.P. And I found the foam did need more trimming to make sure it would all fit inside the bias tape, so trim, 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 trim. After that, I added the bias tape to the outer circular edge so that all the bias tape at the bag opening could get tucked away. The last step is to just top stitch my way around the front and around the back. The bias tape ended up being just the perfect amount. I'm so lucky too, just now I was sewing around here and I finished the bobbin just as I made it full circle. Thank you. On this other side, the bias tape has already been sewn on one half and I just need to wrap it around to finish it off on the other side. And the last step will be to put in the little Prada logo plate. Julia drew this Prada logo. This is so good that we might get sued. Now we're gonna bake it and it'll shrink and magically hopefully be the correct size. After the baking, we glued it to some spare white leather that I had. I've literally been hoarding this leather for like 6 years. And Julia also added a nice decorative stitch around it. We're just gonna glue that onto the purse too. The next time you see this purse, she'll be all done.
Shining, I feel as good as you look. Yeah, one big smile, that's all it took.
She's so cute. I love it. For anyone who plays Animal Crossing, it does ever so slightly remind me of Bunny Day DIYs for all the Easter colors, but I'll accept it. The next DIY we're going to try is Sierra Boyd of Frisk Me Good. She has a couple styles going on and a lot of these are available for you to even purchase so you can just have her amazing creations. This is the one that stood out to me. It is a lace-up corset made out of shoes. I thrifted these pair of shoes, Adidas high tops, size 12. We've cleaned them off a little bit to kind of like see what type of leather we're dealing with. I'm not 100% sure what the plan is right now. I believe the first step will just be to cut it free from the bottom, see what the upper looks like once it's all spread out. I'm pretty sure the original design has 4 pairs of shoes, but I'm thinking this high top will kind of like make up for some lost material. Goodbye shoes. Hopefully you will still look good in your new life. Very strange looking. Oh, felt like a Home Alone trapdoor. We're gonna cut along the tongue, this gray edge. Cut here, preserving the Adidas logo since that's the brand value. Then this whole chunk comes off. This can be flattened out. After all that cutting, the ankle was further cut into 2 more pieces. Take out any parts that are making it bulky, such as the internal foam and the little supports. So this is the main piece cut free, the front of the shoes. Here's the tongue. This is the back ankle, now becoming like a nice hip pad. And this is your new 6-pack. These are all the stitches that Julia put in. You can lace up the front and the back. I don't know. We're gonna figure out what to do with these little angel wings. The next step we're gonna tackle is putting the ankle pieces, the high tops, on the hips. I think we're just gonna use a glue gun. Using this leather awl tool, we poked a series of holes into the corset that kind of had a bit of the arched shape, and then we poked an equally distant set of holes into what was going to become these hip pads. Once the holes are in, it's so much easier to hand sew just with a needle and thread. That successfully secured the hip pads to the corset. This is where we started. Here is where we are with the shoe corset.
Is it all over then when that October wind rolls around and there you walk? Oh, to my love, say you will reserve your touch, say you will come, 'cause they're the same love.
Ooh, it feels good. Also very much posture correcting and kind of like a stage performance outfit vibe, so, or like a wrestling performance. These are not activities that I'm regularly participating in, but I'm bringing it back to today's sponsor before we get to the last DIY. If any of you Canadians want to be more mindful about your budgeting or your spending, Koho is a physical prepaid visa as well as an app on your phone. It looks like this little icon. There's no debt, no fees, so you only spend what you have. You decide how much money goes in, and you can even choose on the app to let it round up your purchases behind the scenes or save behind the scenes. To me, I compare that secretly saving feeling to like opening an old bag and discovering that there's money stashed inside from past you. Thanks, past you. Since it is a prepaid Visa, you can use it anywhere Visa is accepted, both as a physical card or through like something like Apple Wallet on your phone. If you use the link in the description to sign up, you'll get an extra 1% cash back for your first 90 days. I'm really happy to work with a company like Koho because I just think it's so important to grow in your confidence of budgeting, saving where possible. Honestly, all the time, I wish this was something that was covered more in school. That's a larger discussion for another day. But anyways, my fellow Canadians, give it a try and happy saving. Our final DIY uses a special sewing tool that I haven't gotten my hands on in a really long time because I don't own one. Charlotte, who runs Rua Carlotta, she makes these amazing pieces using only dead stock or used materials. I love that. The technique here is greatly benefited by owning a serger, and thankfully my assistant Julia has one, so we're gonna give this whole technique a try. I have this old tank top. It is in heavy need of assistance, especially at the armhole area, but I do love this Minnie Mouse design, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to slim down those two sides and preserve what I can of the spirit of this shirt. All right, Julia brought over her serger. Do you guys want to meet Julia? Quick crash course for those of you who aren't familiar with sergers. The reason we're using this is because in one motion, this small blade will cut the excess fabric off, and these 4 threads will combine to thoroughly wrap the edge so that it looks really encased. We purposefully chose red so it's a contrast to this, but also matches Lil Minnie. And then the parts that are like a sewing machine is that this feed keeps your items moving forward. They go in between these plates, but it's just that on the way this whole chain stitch is created that wraps your fabric. I'm trying to look at like the places where it naturally folds. So this is where normally like you could add a dart to fix this. I'll pin it in. Like I could put one here, do a little pinch that curves around Minnie's face. Guess I will go sew these in. Hopefully it still looks cute. Okay, she doesn't look too messed up. I'm gonna figure out where I would like to put some vertical lines, maybe do a bit of like a wavy grid. Once everything on the front is assembled, then I'll move on to the back. Did some details on the back. This armhole, I'd like to get rid of this extra little flap, so I'm just gonna serge from here and meet at the armpit. This armhole roughly seems like it's okay. And then along the bottom, I've been trying to figure out like if it would be okay for me to angle like this side is high and then it comes down low. Originally this tank top was already cut from a t-shirt, so here it is after its second transformation.
Little tiny Aphrodite, I don't wanna wake you up. When you smile in your sleep, I wonder what you're dreaming of. You got that temporary cherry blossom potion on your lips. I wanna swallow up your ocean, but I only got a sip, and there's an Uber on the way because my flight is in an hour. I still gotta pack a bag and brush my teeth and take a shower, so I take a mental picture cause I know I'm gonna need it. The hardest part of loving you is leaving.
Let me know which one of these was your favorite. I already anticipate that it was not everyone's cup of tea, but I tried to cover a range of aesthetics. And I do like how there's a spirit of recycling supplies in here. Granted that in the case of the purse, its recycling will come later when I potentially return it to its dishwashing destiny. I don't think I will, but the option exists. Serious kudos to the creative minds that were behind all of these ideas. All of their Instagram profiles are linked in the description so you can check them out, give them love. They have so much more inspiration on all of their feeds. For my fellow Canadians, don't forget to check out today's sponsor, Koho. The link is in the description. You'll get an extra 1% cash back on your first 90 days. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.